the Metropolitan Board of Police Commissioners. If we all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Brad McQuitty. Brian Arthur.
Here.
Tim Pritchard.
Here.
Rick Corbin.
Here.
Steve Denny.
Here.
Okay. We have a quorum. We don't have approval of previous minutes because we haven't had meeting. Except executive session in May, so that's not necessary. And no business. We basically have 4 items tonight to discuss. And it doesn't have to be in any particular order. But so it will help us a lot if you both, I see this as an opportunity to learn and ask questions. This may be old hat to you. It's not old hat to me. So I appreciate you coming and answering questions. So let's start with the procedure for field training officer compensation.
In a nutshell, field training officers go through specialized training in order to be a field training officer. If you want to go back in time, years ago in Pendleton, before they had true trained FTOs, officers would just ride with the full-time guys and learn what the full-time guys knew the best. So for example, back in my day, juvenile law was my area. So I would get the new guy, he'd ride with me and I'd sign off that I instructed him on juvenile law, where the building was, how to get there, how to get in the building, how to talk to the probation officers, all that. Well, now we have field training officers in specialized schools, and they are the only ones that do the field training now. Now, I still take them out for Mark Farr's officer talk, driver rounds, but that doesn't go towards their training. So with that being said, because these guys hold a specialized position, compensation always comes up. And one way we mirrored Madison County Sheriff's Department is they offer 1 hour comp time during their shift when they do the field training with officer. So it could be their 12-hour shift, but they get 1 hour comp. And because comp's not pay, that's why it didn't have to go on the salary ordinance or anything like that. That's why we're bringing it before them.
How long typically, I know it's different from a new or a probation officer versus a brand new hire, but how long is a typical training program?
So we just started a new program. It's called Power Ready.
Yes.
And what is the guesstimate of the perfect scenario?
So Officer Beal is kind of our guinea pig with it. So we're learning the program as well as she. So as far as like a set hour, we had to use place fillers when we started the program, which we're already finding between. I mean, with somebody that's lesser experienced, it could be a few months of FTO. If you get somebody from the county that's more turnkey, it could be a month. So it's very dependent on the officer and the experience that they bring.
And the FTOs on this new software, you can read all their remarks that they've worked with the officer all day. So then the night guy can, the night FTO can read that and go, okay, she was a little, he, whoever's being the trouble. They were having issues with this, let's work on that a little bit more, or, okay, yeah, he's done great, we can move along quicker too.
How many FTOs do we have?
I think we only have 8-ish.
Okay,
Uh,
so this all applies to, just if you put in the time. Okay,
And this new program is great. We're all still learning it. However, it does require a lot of extra work from the FTO, just because the program is so quick, which is what we want. We want our trainees to succeed, of course, so that is very dependent on their trainer.
The FTOs enter a narrative on each individual thing that they're teaching.
okay,
The officer then is able to read the notes and have discussion of you're right on that, or argue their point, or even make their own comments. And then those are all reviewed. Moved on.
Program is very impressive. I'm very happy with this one.
other questions. I have others, but I'm a question nut, so.
Anybody else use that?
I know AP was, I'm not sure if you guys still are. I know there were several Hamilton County agencies that were, Hamilton County seems to lead the way, as far as this area goes in a lot of aspects, as far as solving.
How did you select this process?
Officer Silva and Caroga came to me one day, brought up wanting to revamp our FTO program. So they kind of filled me in. I spoke to chief about it. We kind of agreed that, well, if you guys are interested in it, let's get some options together. So put the ball in their court. They did a lot of research, had meetings, with Power Ready, presented it back to us. We looked over the budget side of it. I jumped into a couple of meetings with the chief was in on it. And basically made a determination that we thought that was the best program. Like I said, I'm happy with it. So
We like to talk to our local departments, see what they're doing, but Hamilton County has a lot of money in their attorney level stuff, so we steal a lot from them.
in, actually Madison County.
Other questions about this? How did you decide on compensation time off versus just a fee, just an amount? Because that's my question about some of these assignments. You just have a flat amount.
Couple things. Number one, middle of the year, not wanting the council to have to dig into the salary ordinance. And I know that's a pain. I know it can be done, but I'm not trying to put extra work on them. It's something that we could potentially visit for next year's salary ordinance. But Pendleton can, it goes in spurts. We could go several years and not have to train anybody. Or, lately we've had to train a little bit more. So I think there's enough things, and I wish every one of our officers could make $200,000 a year. It's not a reality. So it's a way to reward our officers for going out, doing a good job and doing a lot of extra work, but not eating into the budget.
If they don't have a new person, do they get any compensation for upgrading or meeting together as FTOs and talking about their program? I mean, I'm so 3 and 4.
We had a meeting last week with all the FTOs.
Okay, and so they got compensation for
For
that?
the meeting, yeah, because if it was during their time off.
All right,
And that was to sit down and go through the program. I was lucky to get access to it a little bit earlier than some. Some is their first time getting it.
okay.
So they prefer,
Sorry.
I think they prefer that 8 hours,
So-
8 hours pay.
Well, again, in a perfect scenario, we'd leave it up to them where that hour would be pay or comp, but just for right now.
Well, I was getting ready to explain that. That's where, again, the police department's a little different. So we are allowed by state law to take overtime and compensation time. So a patrolman that works, let's say 13 hours of his 12-hour shift, let's say he got a drunk at the end of the shift and went 1 hour over. He has to be approved by his supervisor, and he can take that in time or cash. But that needs to be done at that point when they turn in their time sheet. Now, there's other times, for example, like this FTO meeting, where we, the administrators, can designate this meeting is for time. But then, or I have overtime available this weekend for time. The officer then has to say, I'll take it for time. It's a handshake deal, work for time. Can't come back for money at that point. This is all the legal stuff that we have to follow and pay guys. So like the meeting the other night would have been comp for time. And, unless we designated it, which we did. And then the clerk's treasurer's office upstairs, and it's never been done in my time. But if it were to be getting too tight with cash, then they call me and they go, you're pushing the envelope of your overtime budget. And then everything would be comp.
Okay,
But like what you said, in the police business, comp is sometimes gold, especially a new officer. Let's say like Travis Thompson. He just left APD, came here, has 2 weeks, so he tries to churn time for Thanksgiving coming up and whatever else he's got going. But it's all reviewed by supervisor.
This, I look at this as a way to reward our officers for doing extra work without being greedy. So,
But like you said, because it's middle of the year, changing this salary ordinance is an issue. That may be something that comes up in the future. Right now, this is how Madison County does it.
Well, I just didn't know how you came up with, because when I asked for the organizational chart, what I was getting at is all the things that people do.
Right.
And that's not reflected on the organizational chart. And I think it would be helpful as a Metro board member if you would have a list of all the assignments and the tasks required and the compensation, because I don't, am I the only one that doesn't know these things, or,
In the one email I sent you, did I put each officer and what they're detailed to do?
yes.
The only thing I forgot in that after I sent it was like, for example, Briggs. He runs our AEDs, and him and Krogan work on the tasers. And those are things that they just like, so they absorb it and make sure that's all done. There's no compensation with that.
There's no compensation for taser instructor. I'm a fist variety instructor. I don't get compensation for that. So there are certain things that it's impossible to compensate for every little item. At that point, we're gonna start making back in the town too. So
Glad you said that,
kind of had to pick.
because they're higher paid than most officers in the county. And so I don't, if we're paying them for doing above and beyond, that's great. But I'd like to see a task list so that so we can say, well, this is why this assignment is above and beyond. They have this responsibility. Now, I'm not saying, Lucas, that you have to write it. I think the person who has the assignment should write and then submit it so we can see the tasks that they do.
So the initial salary augmentation that I requested in 2012, because State Board of Accounts spoke right now. I detailed what a generalist has to do, what a psychomotor has to do, what a the other one on that list, crime scene investigator, and what they have to meet to get the mayor standard. So for example, like the crime scene investigator, I can't just say, hey, go be a crime scene. You have to have been academy grad crime scene school, or one that's recognized by the academy. Yeah, that's all in there for State Board of Accounts.
So the credentials are there, but for instance, is there a compensation for the property room?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, is there a set of tasks that are required to do for the property room?
There's a super lengthy policy on property rooms.
And
The length, they're very lengthy policy on that.
Yeah, but
and anybody doing it has gone to school to learn
Okay,
what that
it's
process
got
is.
some week-long trainings, and there's, you can find 1,000 different trainings that same thing. Believe it.
We fall back.
When I went now, what it was a week.
Whatever the academy recognizes.
okay. Those are the questions that I want to understand.
Everybody that holds a thing knows what they need to be doing to do that. That's part of the training to become that.
Especially when it comes to dollars and cents, we're not just gonna say, here's a title and now you get extra money. The expectations, the officers that take on these titles or these positions know what the expectations are.
Is all that documented then in terms of I know it's relatively new, right? So in terms of, here's the role, here's the pay.
Well, that has to be because the State Board of Accounts.
Okay,
So, and that goes back in 2012 when I did that. Now, as chief, I can go in and go, and I think I put in that email, I know of one time that an officer was ordered to take a detail that he really didn't put in for. And Sergeant Isaacs did a great job with it throughout his career. But as a chief, you can walk through the room and go, I need you to take care of widgets and walk out. And you just don't try to do that, but it's very rare. Like I said, I've never done it. I just got a phone call the other day from a local defense attorney raving about the team that's built down here right now. And it was great to hear that. And my point to that is these guys are hungry to do those extra things. The FTOs don't do it because they make $1 million. They do it because they're training the guy who's going to be patrolling with them. And they like to build up their partners. And the taser thing, it's a great tool. So Briggs and Kuroga have embraced that to make sure everybody's squared away with the training. And as far as overtime with that, if there was something off shift, then it could be approved for overtime. But we try to do everything on shift to control it.
So again, the list of that stuff is with the Board of Accounts?
Well, part of it is the anything the pay augmentation is. Yeah, because they have to have the description of how they earn that money.
Okay.
So it's not in a procedure book? We don't have that anywhere?
I don't know that there's a policy in the book that specifically details what each and every one of those positions are that receives compensation. There's obviously specific policies to like the property room. It goes into high detail of what the property room officer is in charge of. But as far as a policy that outlines like, okay, me as a general instructor, required to instruct 24 hours every 3 years. And that's all that policy would say is that I'm required to instruct 24 hours a year and have a certified by the state.
Okay,
So I understand what you're saying. However, I think on certain aspects, some of that stuff can get overcomplicated. Like I said, like the general instructor is just my example of it. The only requirement is that I get 24 hours of instruction every 3 years to maintain my certification. And as long as I do that and the academy recertifies me at the end of those 3 years, then I've maintained it.
And because there's compensation tied to that, if that officer, let's say, doesn't get his hours to stay in line, then I can review and say, hey, we don't need you. And that's save money on the augmentation. But that's something that I think I put in the email as well. During the hiring phase, everybody comes in with certifications and all that. I'm like, well, I'm not a 200-man department. I'm only a 16, so I don't know if I need you. And right now, all my instructors are working their butts off to do what they're due and maintaining their training. And I don't have anybody sitting around with their feet up. The instructors are doing their due diligence.
There's an issue supervisors would address it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm yet to see an issue.
this is helpful,
And that's what I gave to the,
helpful.
that's what made it legal for the council to give the pay augmentations in 2011. I can scan that and send it on to you.
I appreciate, I know it seems like we maybe look like we're at odds with each other, but I appreciate learning and understanding. And that's how we can support you. That's how we can
Sure.
work together. It makes sense.
If you wanna,
You walk around with this stuff in your head, Lucas and Mark. I know but we are learning about you.
sure,
And it really helps.
Yeah.
Question on Lexipol. Okay, I know that you guys get all your SOPs and everything from Lexipol. But there's also stuff in there for SOPs to help us as commissioners and stuff to set our SOPs. Is there any way, I mean,
I don't know that there is one for a specific
Well,
policy.
Fordsville said there is. That's how they put a bug in our ear, say, why, and
I've not heard of one.
yeah, we can research.
okay,
Sure.
could you look at that? Since we don't, you have access, as you're the administrator, is that right, Lucas?
Yes.
Okay, would you look into that and and if there's a cost or if
No,
there,
there will be a cost. I'm sure. They're proud of their product, as it should be.
is their product, you have to re-up every year, pay for the product, or do you just, it's a flat fee to buy?
I don't recall if the initial was like for 1 or 2 years, but we do have to read it. It's not a flat rate. You have to forever.
You have to keep upgrading it, okay, well,
But so what I will tell you is if they do have something like that, it's not, here's your entire mate, because it just doesn't work like that. You're talking, if it's anything like ours, months of work, because all you get is a template. They said, here's a template, make
And
it.
every state's different.
So it's not as simple as you pay $5,000 and then boom, here's your policy. It just doesn't work like that.
but we'd like to have a template that's similar to yours. And that looks like there's consistency in as far as,
I'll go visit Chief Brett.
is that the McCourtsville? Okay.
Or I'm sorry, that's Florida, but he has the same
Say
set.
the same thing, okay.
But I can go to McCourtsville too. I just forget that Chief's name. They have a great building.
If you said that would be a good template for us.
It's a housing building.
Uh,
It's not too much. It's not too small.
all right, so you're asking us if we would approve, this compensation for the FTOs.
Policy 330.
Simply approving the 1 hour comp that they earn during their shift while being an FTO to the course. just driving around being an FTO without an officer in the car doesn't get them out. They have to be trained for their shift.
Does someone want to, entertain a motion?
Yeah, I would motion to approve that.
So,
Second. All right, there's a motion to approve, compensation for the field training officer.
I will second it.
Okay, I think so did Tim, so,
Third.
so we're.
I didn't do 10.
All right,
Okay.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Speak up.
Mandatory overtime, general order.
I'm gonna turn this one over to Lucas, because his department prior had that. I've never worked at a department that's had it till now.
So again, today, we've not needed this since we enacted the general order, whatever. it is. Just like it always has been, we're always gonna offer up overtime in the hopes that officers are willing to take it. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain, but like I said, today, we have not needed this.
What he's saying is the officers see the need. They know an officer needs the time off, so they jump in.
So, correct.
They're good teammates.
When it comes to the event that if somebody does get mandated for overtime, it's a matter of time, it's gonna happen. Day shift's gonna be responsible for covering day shift, night shift's responsible for covering night shift. When it gets to the point of ordering or mandating somebody in, that goes purely by seniority, even myself as the assistant chief, I can get mandated, I can mandate myself in if it gets to that. So it's equally shared across the board. I have less seniority than chief, so if I get ordered in for tomorrow's shift, and there's also overtime on Thursday, I can't be ordered in on Thursday as well. It's gotta go back through that rotation before it hits me again. Again, this is something that probably should have been put in place immediately when we implemented the mandatory 2 minimum. It's just got shorthanded for a while, reminded us of the need for this. And it's just something that we need to be able to fall back on. My hope is that we never need it. But I imagine at some point in time, if we go down officers or people get hurt or vacations or whatever the case may be, life happens. I can only work so much overtime. Officer A, B, and C can only work so much overtime before you start to get a little bit burned out. Well, my wife's gonna want me at home some week too.
Lucas makes fun of me when I say this stuff, but back in my day, we used to just lean on Madison County Sheriff's Department, Ingalls, LaPel, Markville. If you had one officer in Pendleton, someone else needed the night off, like, yeah, go ahead, because there's a sheriff deputy in the state police. Well, the state police, everybody, for years, I've been told, oh, you have the state police, you don't need any more men. Well, the state police now go all the way to Winchester out of this post. They go all the way to Richmond, the county, or the state line out of this post. So you don't have the saturation. They don't come here for fuel. Back in the day, you saw troops all day because they were going to get gas. Now they have fuel cards. So the one in Winchester stays in Winchester. So with that being said, Ingalls, Markville, LaPel, they all have their own pains on manpower. So relying on them and expecting them to run over to Pendleton. Now, we still do it. We mutual aid all over the place. But we need to start taking care of our own, and this is one way. Now, like Lucas said, the guys have jumped in and covered for the other guys. We filled the shifts. I think I'm in line for this Friday. So we haven't used it, but just in case. There it is.
In 338.5 exemptions, there are times when an officer cannot be mandated in on vacation or sick. There's 6 different instances. So it's not like
The
it's
procedure is very clear.
So, and that's what we wanted. Again, I don't want to have to mandate somebody. I've not had to do it since I've been the supervisor of Pendleton. I have to do it all the time at Elwood. I was victim to being mandated, but I tell people all the time, I can only feel so bad because my first year and a half at Elwood, I lived at the police department. And that's just the way it worked. I was hit every single day because I was a low seniority person. And I made it very clear, I did not want that to be the case here because it's a real good way to burn somebody out. So we are all eligible. Me, like I said, chief, assistant chief, detective, everybody's eligible. It's equally shared across the board.
It's certainly, if we get up, if we see a higher rate of overtime, that would tell me we're not staffed properly. Unless it was just one of those weird, the plants align differently than our people in port.
Well, and once we're up to full staff too, hopefully, I love my overtime money or my comp time just as much as the next officer, but once we get back up to full strength, hopefully there's not gonna be a lot. So.
Well, right now
even
we have
less
an
need-
officer in training. We have an officer getting ready to go back to the school. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, probably not. We have a MOU with the school, that the SRO out there.
Right.
I can pull him from the school when I need it.
Okay,
So we're number one, they're number two as far as
I
the
don't know
hiring.
that.
Now, I try not to do that, of course. But then the other officers that work in the middle school and the elementary, they are off duty and getting paid by the school. So that's how that works. But I am allowed to pull Baker out of the school and put him on the road if I need. And then my other point to that is you got Bill in training, him going back to SRO, and then we have one injury. So
Plus still being down.
plus being down. He,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anybody have further questions about mandatory overtime? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the general overtime ordinance.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay, and Rick Corbin, second. Those in favor of approving the procedure for mandatory overtime and make it a general order, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'm just following the
Yeah.
order, but, give us an update. I think you've alluded to the training, but how is, Officer Beal doing?
Officer Beal, everybody's enjoying Officer Beal. Officer Beal didn't know who Motley Crue was though, so every now and then her age comes out. With that being said, she is extremely intelligent. She's picking up quick. Her locations amaze me. The other day she was rattling off streets and Caroga just questioning her right there in front of me and she was just popping them off. And, so for not having been born here, which we're not hiring anybody born here now, it's just not happening like it used to be. But, she's doing great and, they're finding where we've learned that with transfer laterals, well, there's some laterals that aren't as lateral as some others. And, so I hate to say she's green because she's been doing the job, but she's learned. And, that's the difference. She's not scared to get her nose in there. I think has she been to DTs with you guys?
She has and did well.
Yeah, so,
She's doing great. I'm happy with everything. on my end. Again, we're learning this new Power Ready FTO program too. Been made very clear. I would rather spend a little too much time on something as we're all learning the program and making sure if anything, if it's even really a term, she's overtrained on something. So yeah, maybe it'll take a little bit longer, but that's just a lot of us learning this program.
and during her hiring phase, we knew going into it that she may not have been as versed as some that applied. But as far as the fit for the town and the department, she met different requirements. And,
She's great. I love having her around.
Yeah.
So I don't have any doubt on my mind that she'll be fine.
That's great to hear. Great to hear. So do you have a good, I mean, I'm not gonna nail you to it, but a good guess at where you hope she'll be able to be on the road
So
yourself?
she's, the way the program's set up, there's 3 phases. She's still in phase 1. She'll probably transition to phase 2 by the end of this month. However, she'll be taking a little bit of time off because of her wedding this month too. So
That's
that could delay things just a hair.
this weekend,
Next week,
next,
for the 15th, so in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like the 15th?
So, she'll probably start phase 2, finish out this month on days. At some point next month, she'll probably slide in a night shift to do the remainder of phase 2 and then phase 3. I don't want to put a date on it because I just don't know with this program and I don't want to tell you, by September, she's going to be rocking and rolling on her own because I don't know. But she's learning at a pace, that, in my opinion, exceeds, in a lot of ways. I just don't want to put a hard date on it because I don't. So again, this program is still too new for me to say, I expect her on.
She hasn't scared me. She's progressing just fine.
She'll be just fine.
So she does sometimes days, sometimes
Right now, she's all day shift.
all day shift?
Right now, yeah. So
Okay.
she'll transition to night shift, will be her shift, I would imagine. So
Sunday, I was contacted by Kroger, and they came in our building. I let them use my building for alarm, for her to come in. And I tell you, I was very impressed with all three of them. I mean, how it's totally different for you to stand there and watch and see, how they protect each other. But it was really, I learned a lot just watching them and see what they go through, and the guys training them on different areas of the building. Because our building was perfect for that because of the, you've been in there, the overhang.
Was Silva there too? Silva and Kroger?
No, it was Zane and Baroka and her, and I even told these guys, I was impressed to watch them, do their job and watch them train her. And she is very intelligent, she's a very nice person.
those that have trained her have done exceptional thus far. I'm proud of it. And I think it shows with her. She seems happy to say.
One thing that the trainers have been doing, back in the old days, you drove around and waited for the call so you could check it off the list. Well, if you're not saturated with domestics, thank goodness, or you're not saturated with drunks, thank goodness, the guys are doing scenario training. So for example, we've got the shoot house behind the building, they'll set up a scenario. The other day, they went up to, Kenny Humphreys.
Kenny and Humphrey.
And they had a domestic, and they went up there and she did the approach, the arrest, the paperwork, and all that, so.
They were both impressed, but
Were they?
yes.
Yeah. And then, they're finding buildings and doing the scenario-based training, so that they can check those off their list, they can also teach, so. Instead of just waiting for something to happen.
Things are going as it should.
Yep, they're doing great.
I can't tell you how much that to me is community policing. When you involve people and get to know it, that strengthens. And we do have smart guys. Okay. We're coming to probably the most contentious of all the issues in front of us tonight. And that is the recommendation to approve a third shift sergeant's position.
Technically, it's a night shift, we don't have 3
Oh,
shifts.
I know. Brain. Tell me the language I'm supposed to be using.
Just night shift.
Night shift,
sergeant.
okay, thank you.
Night shift.
Days and nights, because there's a split.
We just have the 2 12-hour, and then there's some that,
Yeah, but some are 12, so
As far as patrol goes, it's days.
yeah, days and nights.
thank you. I appreciate that. We initially, because we're still in the midst of an internal investigation, said that we did not want to make any kind of movement because one of the things that was kind of iffy was our way of promotions, that it was not as, there was some question of favoritism. So we decided as a group to put that on hold. We want to speak to that tonight as far as we are as a group very sensitive to your needs, believe it or not. It doesn't seem that we think Silva's an outstanding person, but we think there's some room to grow in the way we do promotions. So we're want to share some of our concerns with you tonight. We have different positions on this because we're all 5 different people. I don't know how we're gonna vote about this tonight, so I've asked different people to speak out their opinion, so you know that this is just Chris McCain talking, because these guys let me talk too much, and chuckle, but I'd like to hear the background of how we're wrestling with this particular issue. So who would like to jump into the discussion?
I'll go first. I mean, I feel that Silva, is a good officer, and I think he'd make a good sergeant. But, and I think he's caught up in this that we're, that we can promote him, but, we need to hold off. But I thought, my opinion was to go ahead and get him in the third, second position to sergeant and let him get started. I think, as far as put him on hold for his pay increase or, you know, his family and stuff. He's been on hold for what, 7 weeks now? So,
Well, not to interrupt, not just him. It affects Briggs and
Right.
other officers wanting to switch nights to days. So it's bigger than Mark Farr. It's involving 3 or 4 other movements in the tree.
right,
So are there other officers that want to switch shifts?
Sure.
Yeah, we're pulling somebody from day shift to go to night shift, so that's.
So a night shift guy will come to days.
and that's done by Senior.
Correct.
Yeah, my thought is understanding that. I think there's urgency for sure. And I think one thing to clarify too is I'm not sure there is an issue. We don't know yet. And I think that's what we're waiting for, this kind of analysis. And it's a short wait. We're almost there where we understand, like, hey, here's what's going really well, and maybe here's some opportunities to tweak. You know, I think this was all spurred by, we don't know if it was a, you know, founded, you know, accusations or whatever, but it's like a warning light in the car, you know, that, hey, it's worth looking under the hood. Now, do we want to drive across states when we have that warning light on? Probably not. So that's what I kind of akin it to is let's look at what they come back with, understand like, okay, this is on track and we're good to go, bam, we're set. Or if there's an adjustment needed, I don't think it has for me anything to do with the person. It has more to do with the process and making sure that we do right by what we set out to do, and that's that look under the hood. So that's why I would say not yet, but soon, you know, once we get clarification on it.
How do you feel?
I agree with Brian. I don't know if there's anything that's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how Officer Sobel was chosen. I think Officer Sobel's a good officer. Rick, you probably should get the job, but until we get the findings back, I think we would be a little premature to do that right now, but we should have that information.
We just want you to understand that it's nothing against him as a man. We're concerned that our process still has some subjective things, maybe. At least that was brought up. And so we'll find out. We don't know. We're almost guessing ourselves. We do not have
I
a
can give you the
report.
answers.
Huh?
I can give you all the answers if
Yeah,
you'd ask me.
But you may not represent how everybody feels. So we'll see. When we do this process, we're gonna act as quickly as we can to put it on the fast track to get this in place.
With all due respect, and I truly mean with all due respect, this has been going on since the end of April. And we were made under the impression that this was gonna be a pretty quick process, and our department has been on hold for 3 months now. This
On hold for what? Just this particular?
this and many others, and I think that a lot of this is stuff that's not suited for a public meeting. So I only want to speak on it so much, but
Okay.
still just continue to be in a holding pattern where our personnel has been disrupted. It was said from the get-go that this board does not want there to be any disruptions, and there's been several disruptions.
Abused.
And I understand if there's concerns that we need addressed, and I'll say in front of God and everybody, if there's something that the department can do better, and we may not know about it, I want us to know about it so we can do it better. You and I had a very lengthy conversation. You know my opinion on a lot of this. I believe that we are bringing somebody before you that deserves this promotion, should have this promotion. We wouldn't be bringing somebody to you that didn't deserve or need it.
In fact, the team has been coming to him, knowing he's in line, picking his brain. I've watched it. They're actually seeing him already in a supervisory role. I'm telling you right now, as chief of police, 20 years doing this job, favoritism has never been part of my decision making. And the reason it hasn't been is because in 95, when I got hired here, I was treated like a dog because Chief Wilson had me do this, had me do that. I became assistant chief after 2 years because of my resume. And I made the chief at the time, before he promoted me, to take applications so that I could play resume poker and beat all the other guys, which I did. And I've done that with every promotion since. It's been for the good of the department, the good of the town. I sleep just fine.
I've tried to be very understanding of the fact that this needed to go through its paces. But this is extended any amount of reasonableness whatsoever. It's getting to the point that it's just absurd. And again, I don't mean any of this disrespectfully, this is my opinion,
None taken.
but if this is not, the team is frustrated. The team as a whole is frustrated, and it's not the frustration that I think is bogus, that a lot of this stemmed from. The team is very frustrated with us just not being able to return to normal business as usual. And it's not gonna happen until this book is closed. Again, the board's gonna do what the board chooses to do, and I respect that, but it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I think we've been frustrated hard about how long the interview process took, which I don't think we anticipated would take however long it took. And I think that was an unexpected thing that, again, how long did it take to conduct all the various scheduling, interviews and stuff like that? That was not.
So it didn't help with the summer, but
Yeah.
is there anything that can be done to ease, I mean, like creative scheduling, I mean, to ease some of this disruption to third shift and, bring Briggs back? I mean, you've got senior officers on second, not third, second. Do you have to have a sergeant on
Absolutely.
second
Yeah,
shift?
and in a perfect scenario, and this is something we're gonna need as we build, we need a supervisor on at all times, but we can't do it. To not have a supervisor assigned to a shift is absurd. It's, because God forbid something happens, first person that everybody's gonna look to is a supervisor. And if there's not one, I get it, we have an OIC, but it's not a supervisor. That's why yet another reason we need to fill this vacancy. This isn't a want, this is a need. We are hurting.
I don't want to throw urgency at you or anything like that to make a decision. But I know for a fact, I'll just lay it out. I've got one officer who's already been getting phone calls to come back. And the more this stuff goes on, the more he's probably gonna want it. So, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that,
I'm sure there is. Well, go ahead, Tim.
Lucas, consider your comments. This, I don't think waiting 2 or 3 more weeks is gonna greatly affect it.
I want to say again, Officer Silva was given the promotion opportunity based on Officer Silva's ability. Officer Silva was prior military. He's squared away under pressure. He's already taken the role, the power ready. He embraced it to build up Beal and to be part of that. He helps with the defense tactics portion, the TAC med. After we discussed that he was going to be brought before you all, he was one that I had officers come to my office and do a good job. So,
Again, it's nothing that we're against
Well,
Officer Silva.
and I'm not saying that at all. I mean, because you really can't be, because you weren't in the interviews, but I promise it wasn't just Silva. It was based on Silver's ability and the town and what's best for the department.
Well, honestly, I feel a little uncomfortable talking about this in a public meeting. Thank goodness no one's here.
Well, and I'm not.
Because this is a personnel matters.
Absolutely, and I'm not diving any deeper than.
I know, I agree. So let's not discuss because, in all respect for personnel matters.
Absolutely. And we actually were discussing that earlier about this phase of this game. If it should be a private or a public meeting or a non-public. And
Exactly.
that's something I'll get with when I meet with Bratton and ask how they follow their
Okay,
Chief Bratton.
okay.
For
I
them.
didn't think it was Brandon. Okay.
There's just one other thing I'll get to.
Okay, I'll take does somebody want to make a motion to, of what you feel like we need to do? I guess we're looking at either accepting the recommendation or putting it on hold until, after the investigation. That's the dilemma that we've been talking about.
While understanding the urgency.
Yes, we do.
That's
And
totally.
having great deal of respect for Nathan Silva. But we
I'm
haven't
not
talked to
trying
him
to
too.
muscle lead.
No,
Okay.
absolutely, that's not, no.
All right.
I think it's putting a lot of strain on a lot of people.
It
For
is.
sure, and I do want to make sure that's definitely acknowledged.
Yeah.
Our friction is that just the timing is so tough because we're right on the cusp of getting, ensuring that we have our finger on the pulse of what the team is thinking and feeling culturally in terms of this type of process, right? Once we get our finger on the pulse, hey, everything's great, then we'll feel good. If for some reason there's something to change, the last thing we want to do, I think, is go forward with a decision like this, even though I know it's urgent. And then we find out next week where the process, not the person, but the process to get there is something that is way, way off. I don't anticipate that happening. But I think that's the hesitation about right now until we're on the precipice of understanding, hey, this is going really well, or this isn't, from a process standpoint, nothing.
Well, the only other point I'd like to make is the email I sent out describing as chief marshal before the police commission, before I was the police chief. The process, I could literally go out there and grab the first pedestrian and make him a sergeant. That's never been done in my career. So I'm not doing it now. And the more I went through the interviews, the more I know the questions on the table, and I'm telling you, it's bunk. So
What questions on the table?
from your interviews, from the interviews we just,
We don't even know the question.
well, we do, we were asked them.
We don't know. So that's what. we
I can give you the
can't talk about.
list.
We can't, that's the thing. We're in the dark.
Yeah,
So it's coming.
yeah, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
When you ask us the questions, we know them.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
such,
Thank you
such
for
a,
that feedback. All right. So, I will take a motion or a direction, or do we table it and,
we got three choices. Motion to table, motion to accept, or motion to.
Right.
I'll make a motion to take.
Till the next meeting,
Till the next meeting.
public.
yeah, September 1. is our next public.
Can we consider fast tracking that September 1 up? Do we have to wait until September 1? I don't think we do.
I don't know that we have to, but again, will we have the information? I'm hoping, within the week.
Thank you.
We can call a special meeting
Okay.
after everything's public, after everything's done and out. Over. We can call a public meeting and wait out.
48 hours, we have to have,
That's
Posted for 48 hours.
So we can do that before September the first.
We can.
Yeah, as soon as we can move,
we don't know. I mean, that's the thing.
Let's record this as tabled until the next public meeting.
that's what I.
Okay, good. All right. Tim made a motion that we table this until the next public meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor of tabling this recommendation for promotion until the next public meeting of the Metro Board, say aye. Opposed? Okay. I know that's not the answer you want, but that's,
Well, the public meeting could be held before
we hope so.
the.
Again,
the
we are
dated
waiting
public
like you are
For
waiting.
next
Could
month.
be up before this is scheduled.
We don't have to wait till September.
No, we don't have to wait till September.
In fact, if we're able to.
If I may just ask a question, when was the last time you guys were given an update on these results?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
When was the last time that the board was given an update on when the results were gonna be back?
Today,
That update was,
they've asked us to meet. They've asked to set a date, and we're in the process of getting a date where the attorneys and everybody can meet. So we're setting a date. We're in that process.
thank you.
So that's why. We're as ready to. All right, I'll tender a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Tim,
Sure.
all right. Thank you.